That skill presents subtraction of fractions. When two fractions are on the same denominator, let's say 5 and 5, and you want to subtract them, you can write down the answer as the difference of the numerators over the common denominator, in this case 5. For example, if you want to do 4/5 minus 1/5, the answer is going to be 4 minus 1, the difference of the numerators over the denominator, which is 5. So this is equal to 3/5. Similarly, 7/8 minus 3/8 is equal to 7 minus 3 on the top over the common denominator, which is 8. And that is equal to 4 over 8. And 4/8 can be simplified by dividing them with 4, the greatest common divisor of 4 and 8. So we have a 1 on the top, 2 on the bottom. 7/8 minus 3/8 is equal to 1/2. But then how do you subtract fractions that are not on the same denominator? For example, how do you subtract 2/5 from 3/4? Unlike the previous two examples, the two denominators are not the same. Therefore, you cannot subtract the numerators and write one single denominator, a common denominator at the bottom. But then this is the only way to subtract fractions. You got to have them on the same denominators. So that's when you change each one of these to their equivalent forms so that they are on the same denominator, by finding the least common multiple, LCM, of the denominators, also known as the least common denominators of the two fractions. The LCM of 4 and 5 is 20. Therefore, we have a 20 here and we have a 20 here, so that we could subtract the new numerators, write the difference on the top and a 20 on the bottom. To change 4 to a 20, multiply that with 5 and do the same on the numerator. To change 5 to a 20, multiply that with 4 and do the same on the numerator. So we have 3 times 5 is 15. 3/4 is equivalent to 15/20. And similarly, 2 times 4 is 8. 2/5 is equivalent to 8/20. So we could do a 15 minus 8 on the top and 20 on the bottom. That is equal to 7/20. 3/4 minus 2/5 is equal to 7/20. Let's try 9/10 minus, let's say, 1/6. The steps are the same. Because the denominators are not equal, you want to find the LCM of 10 and 6, which is 30. So you want to rewrite both fractions as something over 30. To change 10 to 30, multiply that with 3. Do the same on the top. To change 6 to a 30, multiply with 5. Do the same on the top. 9 times 3 is 27. So 9/10 is equivalent to 27/30. 1 times 5 is 5. So 1/6 is equivalent to 5/30. And if you subtract 27 minus 5 all over 30, and that is equal to 22 over 30. Divide the numerator and the denominator with their GCF, which is 2, and then we have 11 on the top, 15 on the bottom. So this is the simplest form of the answer, 9/10 minus 1/6. To subtract mixed numbers, like let's say 5 and 5/6 minus 1 and 9/18, you could subtract the whole numbers. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So this is equal to 4. And then you could subtract the fractions. So this is 4 and, meaning 4 plus 5/6 minus 9/18. So this is equal to 4 plus. The two fractions are not on the same denominator. You know what to do. The LCM of 6 and 18 is 18. So you want to rewrite 5/6 as something over 18 minus 9 over 18 obviously is already there as something over 18. So you could use 9 over 18. No need to change this fraction. It's already on the LCM. Now to change 6 to 18, you times it with 3. Therefore, do the same on the top. 5 times 3 is 15. So 5 6 is the same as 15 over 18. So in the next step, we could have a 4 plus, combine these two, 15 minus 9 is equal to 4 plus 15 minus 9 is 6. 6 over 18. And that can actually be simplified. Divide the numerator and the denominator with the greatest common factor of 6 and 18. That's 6. So you have 4 plus 6 divided by 6 is 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 4 plus 1/3 is the same as 4 and 1/3. Now let's try 4 and 1/3 minus 2 and 1/2. Let's follow the same steps. We do a 4 minus 2, we have a 2, plus 1/3 minus 1/2. The two fractions are not on the same denominator. The LCM of 3 and 2 is 6. So you want to rewrite them as something over 6 for 1/3 minus something over 6 for 1/2. To change 3 to a 6, you times this with 2. You times this with 2 as well to keep the fraction equivalent. To change 2 to a 6, you times this with 3 and times the numerator with 3. So the corresponding equivalent forms are 2 6 in place of 1/3 and 3 6 in place of 1/2. Now, here's a problem. If you were to subtract 2 6 minus 3 6, you cannot do a 2 minus 3. That's a negative 1. 3 is more than 2. So what do? Well, one way to do this is to go ahead with the subtraction with the negative answer on it. So this is equal to 2 plus 2 minus 3 over 6, and that is equal to 2 plus, like I said, 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so we have a negative 1 over 6, and that's the same as saying this is 2 minus 1/6. So if you have one whole and another whole, and then take away 1/6 from the second whole, you're obviously left with 5/6 and a whole. So this is equal to 1 and 5/6. Obviously, there are other ways to do that. You could rewrite the 2 as something over 6, 12 over 6, and go ahead and do normal subtraction of fractions on the same denominator. Several ways to get to the answer. But if you wanted to avoid that negative answer on the subtraction, this is how you would do it. You would rewrite this 2 and 2 6. This is 2 plus 2 6. So the plus, the positive portion is 2 wholes and another 2 6. 2 6 isn't enough to subtract 3 6 from it and yet stay positive. So what you do is, you make this 2 6 borrow a 1 from this 2. So change the 2 to a 1. So we have a 1 plus, and the other 1, like I said, is borrowed by this 2 6. So the 2 6 now becomes 1 plus 2 6 minus 3 6. So it's essentially splitting up this 2 into a 1 and another 1. This 1 goes to the 2 6. Because it's smaller than 3 6, you cannot do the subtraction. Now that you have 1 and 2 6, obviously you can do the subtraction. Rewrite this 1. This 1 stays the same, 1 plus. Now to add 1 with 2 6, rewrite the 1 as 6 over 6. A number over itself is always 1. Plus 2 6 minus 3 6. Now all these three are on the same denominator. And if you add and subtract them, it will no longer give you a negative answer as here. So you have 1 plus all over 6, 6 plus 2 minus 3. This is equal to 1 plus 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 minus 3 is 5. 1 plus 5 6 is the same as 1 and 5/6. Same answer as you got over here.